Medzpeed dramatically improves your cash flow by generating a real-time estimate of the cost of today's visit before or immediately after treatment is rendered. How is that possible? In 4 simple screens. At the front desk upon check-in, when the patient sees the nurse, when the patient sees the physician, and back at the front desk for checkout and payment. Let's get started. First, we're going to log in as the front office administrator or receptionist. Upon login, the front office administrator is presented with only the patient information they need for check-in: the patient's name and photograph, the name of the physician they're seeing, and the reason for today's visit. With a single click, the administrator is able to view the patient's insurance eligibility and the cost estimates for today's visit based upon real-time data from their insurance provider. On the right-hand side, the admin sees all of the patient's relevant financial information, such as a prior balance, today's copay, and estimated charges. The Medzpeed Your Revenue system also provides several alerts, such as whether a balance is due, or in this case for patient Joan Bishop, the fact that she has to review and sign some documents before she can be checked in, and that she has a $10 copay. With just one click, the admin checks Joan in and then hands her the tablet device to complete the rest of her own check-in process. The system only prompts Joan to complete tasks which apply to her during today's visit. In this case, she has 3 steps to complete. Her first step is to simply click the Next button at the bottom of the screen. Now she must read and electronically sign documentation regarding the practice's privacy policies and the assignments of benefits authorization. Finally, she's reminded of her $10 copay and is able to make that payment herself right from this screen. Once Joan's payment for $10 has been processed, a receipt is generated, which can either be physically printed or emailed to her. After she has completed her steps, Joan hands the tablet back to the administrator. The administrator enters their password, which allows them to return to the main screen to find that Joan's record no longer appears, ensuring that she is successfully checked in. Now that Joan has been checked in, she appears on the nurse's dashboard. The nurse sees that Joan is coming in for a stress test, and with a single click launches her electronic encounter form. The Medzpeed Your Revenue system dynamically recognizes the physician's preferences and the practice's preferences for a stress test. The nurse practitioner may search for additional processes or procedures by name or CPT code and add or subtract them as she deems appropriate. Here she adds a radiological procedure and types in a comment. Once the nurse is done with patient Joan Bishop, she disappears from the nurse's screen and appears on the physician's dashboard. The physician's screen is also very simple and direct. With a single click, he or she opens Joan's electronic encounter form and begins treating her. The physician is also prompted with his or her preferences and the practice's preferences for this patient based upon her past visits and the reason for today's visit. He or she may also search for and select other procedures, such as a bone density test, and make additional comments. When the physician finishes treating Joan, her record disappears from his screen and reappears on the front office screen. When Joan returns to the front desk, the administrator sees that patient Joan Bishop now has a $1,000 balance due. This cost estimation is based upon real-time data from her insurance company regarding her eligibility and deductible. With one click, Medzpeed has now created a bill which will be presented to the patient. The bill lists all the procedures that were performed and the charges, along with all the insurance-oriented information such as today's total charge, the patient's deductible, and the amount the patient needs to pay. This immediate generation of the bill allows the patient to view the charges right at the front desk, receive a printed copy of the bill, and have a copy sent to them by email, and make payment before leaving the office. If Joan chooses to pay before leaving, Medzpeed allows her to pay by credit card, check, or cash. If Joan is not able to pay the full $1,000 today, Medzpeed gives your practice the option to allow her to make payments in multiple installments. Here, the first installment of $333.33 has been collected during this visit. Once payment is collected, Joan is successfully checked out and on her way. Medzpeed's powerful but intuitive interface accelerates not only the flow of patients through your office, but also the flow of cash through your practice by generating charges for services based upon real-time insurance and procedure data. Call us today at 202-888-3603 to learn how quickly you can put the power of Medzpeed to work for your practice.